this rally. I was just someone who showed up and wanted to support. Things happen and voices need to be heard. And apparently something that I was saying needed to be heard. And people are finally receiving that. If I have this platform, then I have to use my privilege for good. And that's exactly what I will do. We want to control the narrative of this story. We want to show what we really are. Because we're peace, and we're love, and we're showing that here in Seattle every day, and that's why I love our city, because we could be like everywhere else. We could, and we were for a second, and then we realized that we just get hurt. So I made a promise to every parent out there that their kid's going home tonight. Kids in this crowd that I've ever seen. And they deserve to wake up tomorrow to tell that story, because that's how change gets made, is people have to tell the story. It has to get better. It has to. So if it doesn't, then we're just going to keep having chaos, which is why we're out here for 4 days, because it hasn't changed yet. And we'll be here as many days as it takes. It doesn't matter how sick I get. It doesn't matter how much my voice goes. As long as we can move, we will. And if we can't move, then we'll sit. But we're doing this peacefully. Begging for peace, and if we don't show that we can follow that, then why are we even out here? So your parents tell you all the time, you're only as good as your word. This was our word that we were going to do this peacefully on this route, and that's what we're doing, because they're to change direction for people in that group that don't know what's going on. And I promised every parent out there that their kid would go home safe. When you make decisions like that, you're risking the lives of everyone in that crowd. That's not just your life, and it is so selfish and unfair.
And what is the goal tonight as you approach the East Police Precinct in Seattle?
Our the time, because we're still out here.
But you want
to distinction between looters and protesters. But at any rate, Kaylee Hartung in Seattle for us tonight. Thanks so much, Kaylee. And let's bring in the mayor of Seattle, Jenny Durkin, now. Thanks so much for joining us, Mayor.
Thanks for having me.
Over the weekend, we saw scenes of destruction in your city. Dozens were arrested. What do you know about the perpetrators of this violence?
So I think that's a really good question, and I think it's really important was to commit acts of violence, hate, and to destroy property. They caused millions of damage and a lot of injuries, and I think it's important. That is very different from the people who came to protest, rightfully so.
Was the city prepared, would you say, for this kind of rioting, and do you think that law enforcement did enough to public and local businesses?
I think the law enforcement did the best job they could under the circumstances. We see protests and demonstrations of all sizes and scopes over the years. We had hundreds of thousands of people march in the Women's March here without any incidents. In normal cases, our police officers rarely have to intercede at all. We prepared more because of what we saw going on across the country. But even over 1,000 people, if they come with the intent to have that kind of violence, the police officers have to do a range of things. First, they have to protect the life of the people there. And having a number of thousands of people there peacefully, they have to make sure that they're protected and can move out of the city. And then they have to make sure that in Seattle, we have a very robust system of police oversight. I was formerly the United States Attorney, one at the United States.
The Seattle police have not arrested anyone for violating curfew. So